Hey, it's SuperBooth 25 and here I am on my way to Berlin-Wuhlheide on a beautiful sunny day. I'll try to show some cool stuff that the bigger channels probably won't focus on, but of course I won't be able to escape the gravitational pull of some of the bigger releases this year in this video overview. I'll link all the stuff shown here in this video's description, and my apologies, I didn't capture any actual audio examples and I'll just try to post some links to actual audio where necessary. So my first step was Polyend, who showcased their new MESS pedal and effects pedal with the Sequencer. This pedal can run 4 of 125 effects simultaneously, and additionally you can use the Sequencer to create ever-changing effect landscapes. The effects on this box sound fantastic. This is kind of the idea that Strymon had with their Night Sky pedal, but here switching effects or parameters won't abruptly end the previous effect, which is much better. The pedal follows the same design guidelines as the step drum computer and the press compressor pedals. It'll be $599 on pre-order. Next, I tried to say hello at Synthetics Academy and AFK Audio, but they were quite busy, so I tried to say hello at Dirty Waves booth next, but as in the previous 3 years, they had quite a crowd. So the M8 is enjoying a steady stream of updates, and it's still one of the best and most popular handheld music devices out there, with a reason.
Display and it's literally just
so, like, you use the launchpad. I don't know if you...
Next to Dato Waves booth was Wavy Industries, who were showing off their updated Monkey mini keyboard. This now is kind of velocity sensitive if you move your fingers across the monkey icon while playing. You can now upload your own drum parts as well, which makes this already very powerful and criminally overlooked MIDI keyboard even more attractive. With its Bluetooth MIDI interface, this is the perfect companion for smartphones.
we have the menu on the back.
MIDI controllers seem to be an overarching theme of this year's SuperBooth. You will see a lot of these in this video, and all of them were fun and inventive. But first, marvel at these fantastic tape machine Euroride modules by Aira Instruments. This is a Mellencamp kind of module. The tape will play back a recording of an instrument, and pitch and speed can then be controlled. This unit is €299 or dollars.
So you're mixing four tapes, effect to make it more cinematic.
The venue was slowly filling with visitors, and I briefly visited Zoom's booth. Their focus this year was on the H series of handheld recorders, with the new H5 Studio being the flagship here. This now is a 6-track recorder, recording 32-bit float format samples, which will give any recordings a high dynamic bandwidth. The H5 is €390 or dollars. My next stop was at Instruo Instruments, which had the new Seashell monophonic analog synth on display. Look at this lovely steampunk design. The Seashell is a 2-oscillator synth that, thanks to its FM and wavefolding capabilities, can deliver some absolutely brutal and powerful sounds. The Seashell will be £649 when released later this year.
fundamental through it. You have your envelope section here, the attack and release, and your filter section, and you have the bias over the filter as well. And that's kind of and the wave folder. So you can select the 2 voices here. You can either have wavefold, pulse width modulation, or sawtooth, or combinations of the 2 between the 2 by selecting through the sources here.
Here's the Storm Summoner, a remote control for your pedalboard by company Kabaragoya. This device is designed to be fastened to a microphone stand and lets you not only recall lots of presets, but also modulate them using a proximity sensor and a touch-sensitive area. The Storm Summoner will be $200 when released later this year.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, it has sort of an iPod-style touch wheel that you can dial in whatever preset information you want, and then it has 4 buttons that you can assign to anything that you want. It also has a proximity sensor, which is almost like having an expression mirror on the side.
Yeah, come out to the bay.
I have that one mapped to the microtune, so if it will subtly change the pitch of my voice. I'm a beautiful singer, as you can tell.
Okay. Next to that stand, Chase Bliss was showcasing their lineup of pedals, and this booth had a focus on glitchy and lossy pedals. These pedals are fantastic, and they add a lot of interesting details, glitches, modulation to any given sound, adding a lot of depth and width. My recommendation here is the Onward pedal, which is a sampler that reacts to your playing. It gives you 2 engines, so to speak, the freeze, which will create long, smooth, sustained sounds, and the glitch for more random, edgy, glitchy sounds. These can be combined using additional internal effects like reverb, chorus and delay, and it sounds absolutely gorgeous. Fantastic stuff that could really add to your ambient explorations or add that sparkle of magic stardust to any given track from any given genre. The Onward is priced $469 or euros. I then made a brief stop at GS Music's booth, which had their Bree 6 synth on display. This is a 6-voice, fully analog synthesizer that has 1 oscillator and a sub-oscillator per voice. This is a great sounding synth for sure, as far as I could tell in the overall background noise. Price is $999 or euros. Gamechanger Audio showed their new motor pedal, which augments or totally transforms your guitar sound using a drone motor, like in their motor synth. The resulting sound is quite interesting and expressive. Teenage Engineering's booth was quite the crowd pleaser, with their display of the OP1 Field, XY and Pocket operators. Especially the XY and the KO2 had people queuing up. I wanted to try Waldorf's Iridium modeling synthesis, but the user interface wouldn't let me. If you've never used an Iridium, take a look at the video, which button will take you to a list of presets. This synthesizer sounds fantastic though. I'd love to spend some more time with it to learn some of its secrets. Nearby, OXI Instruments showed their OXI2 hardware sequencer. This is the hardware sequencer to rule them all, and 64 tracks with 8 control tracks each will give you all the creative freedom you need. Projects can be stored on SD card, there are up to 6 MIDI ports and 84 MIDI channels, and thanks to its grid design the workflow is fast and intuitive. Batteries will last up to 8 hours before needing a recharge. I'd highly recommend watching SynthDad's video on this update, who just so arrived together with Herr Schneider from Schneider's Laden at OXI's booth when I was filming this. Cheers, Mark.
Are you happy with it overall for the exhibitors? So do you like it?
My next destination was Playtronica's booth, because I wanted to take a look at their new Orbita. As you can see, this is a spinning disc you can place magnets on, which trigger notes on MIDI events when they pass an optical picker. You can adjust the rotation speed and move the magnets, and you can use some templates as well. This device is super fun, and Playtronica told me it's even more fun using 2 of them simultaneously for 2 instruments, DJ style. For me, this was one of the highlights of the show, a playful and haptical way to create sequences. You see it and you immediately understand how it works, and then you want to start playing with it. I found myself spending much more time than planned at this booth, and this is going to be a winner. Unfortunately, no info on the Orbita can be found on Playtronica's webpage at the moment, but their representative told me they have 600 of them in stock and they will go on sale for around 250 euros soon.
Product is available, or is it
Right next to that booth, there was a gentleman handling a power drill to control a light show and synthesizers, which of course piqued my interest. So say hello to the Demon Box by Eternal Research, which picks up electromagnetic fields in its vicinity to convert them to MIDI or sound. Its inventor pointed out embracing chaos and noise is mandatory for enjoying the Demon Box's services. Price is around $999.
so you can play it like an instrument?
Next stop was Wildwood Soundworks, who had a display of their Express and Lightning devices. The Express is a sample player with a 16-track sequencer that can control other synthesizers as well. I hope to have a full video on one of these in the coming weeks. These are momentarily available on Etsy for very fair prices of around $170 and $205.
A chord type here on the top row. So it tells you over here what you've selected. So this is going to be minor, major, dominant 7. And then when you...
I also tried to talk to the guys at Beetlecrab's booth because their Vector Synth and their Tempera Granular Synth Sequencer are super interesting products with great sounds. However, that booth had a steady flow of talks and customers, so all I can give you is a reminder these exist, they're worth checking out. The Tempera in particular, with its super interesting user interface and great granular sounds. Torso Electronics showed the latest firmware for their S4 sculpting sampler. This instrument has a superb user interface that's very easy to grasp, and the pre-installed granular patches really invite sound explorations, and there's a lot to explore in the tape loops, granular synthesizers, 48-band filters, color and space engines. This instrument has 4 stereo tracks and can be thought of as a digital tape machine with great sounding internal effects. I recommend visiting Torso's webpage for more information.
No, because I was waiting. Because like when we initially talked, it was before the release even happened. And then after the release, I didn't have the video boards, and then I got busy. And then the last time we talked was
track has 4 modulators.
As you may notice, I was a bit distracted here because on the other side of the table, Cameron, also known as Venus Theory, spoke with his alluring yet commanding voice. And I guess you as well listened more to him than to Torso's representative in my short video snippet here. Admit it. I then continued to Yamaha's booth, which was, as usual, one of the largest on show. Blake Angelus himself was there, and he was kind enough to explain me how they made that sustained sound on the Yamaha Montage M's piano. Unfortunately, I didn't film that, but I'll show you in a separate upcoming video. Montage M will get a firmware update this summer, bringing it to version 3, and I'll link Scott's Synth Stuffs video because he has already done an excellent summary on the new features. Opposite to Yamaha's booth, there was Napkey showing off their Napkey chord device. The idea here is you can have a computer keyboard full of chords and you can strum them using a touch-sensitive area on the right side. This, for me, was another highlight of this show. It's a simple concept with a great execution, and in result I once again spent way more time than expected having fun and playing chord progressions I usually wouldn't come up with. The Napkey chord comes in 2 versions, one with an internal synthesizer and one as a pure MIDI controller. The instrument is on Kickstarter at the moment for around $350.
So you can merge between square to sine wave. Then you have a few
Next to Napkey's booth was a gentleman showcasing Flowfall, an app that lets you use your smartwatch or smartphone as a motion controller for Ableton. The app can pick up orientation and movement and converts them to MIDI commands. This works with Ableton only, but I can't see why this shouldn't work with other DAWs in the future. Flowfall is free to try and use, and it's in the app stores. My next stop was at Synaptic, who showed off 3 new mastering plugins. These are, in layman's terms, EQs, compressors and dynamic enhancers, but they're using AI algorithms that analyze the source material in real time and adapt accordingly. And the results were truly astounding. Your music sounds louder, clearer and more spacious immediately. The additional punch delivered by these plugins really makes a night and day before and after experience. You can download demos of their products from their webpage, and prices are around €150 per plugin.
Let me show you.
Here's the Q-Ray. Remember that Roland D-Beam? This was a curious gadget built into early 2000s Roland synthesizers that never quite worked as expected. The Q-Ray takes that idea, multiplies it by 7 and best of all, makes it work flawlessly. The optical sensors pick up the position and distance of your hands precisely, so using this controller was fun, especially with that example patch they used for showcasing it. They had 6 synthesizer pads and 1 timpani sound, and playing that really made you feel like some dark Sith Lord or something. Another one of my personal highlights at this show. Prices are yet to be announced. Red Dot Audio from Japan had their 8-voice analog Grand Blue synth on display. This is a great sounding synthesizer that can be used both as a MIDI synthesizer and as a modular one, as seen here. And look, they're using a QI100 for the demo.
Playing back a sequence from here? Okay. Now... okay. I always fail to understand the routing and the cables.
Soma Laboratory was showcasing their new Flux MIDI controller. This can be played with 2 magnets, and the magnet's position and distance will be converted to MIDI data. Using this was super fun as well, but it takes time and practicing a lot to get good at playing this. This booth had quite the crowd as well, which always is an indicator for an idea that works. The First Love synthesizer by the similar named company is nearing its completion and will be available in the first quarter of 2026. This is a 4-part multi-timbre FM synthesizer with a superb and intuitive user interface, takes away the egg-headedness of FM programming. Everything here is big, friendly and inviting, and most of all, great sounding. Definitely worth checking out, as well as their t-shirts. Okay, in the meantime, is it possible to talk to someone at Dirty Wave's booth? No. So let's go to Dato, a manufacturer of kid-friendly synthesizers. Don't mistake the exterior for lacking power, these are capable synthesizers that invite experimentation and play.
Maybe successful so that it gets funded.
Leaf Audio's booth drew quite the crowd as well. They had a fun setup using the portable amps and contact microphones. You'd wear headphones here and listen to what the contact mics picked up to discover detailed sound landscapes. The best way to describe this is a microscope for sounds. The clarity and depth of what you heard there was really remarkable. The contact microphone is $89 and the field amp is $190. And yeah, one might get the impression that Moog has a new synthesizer, the Messenger. This is a monophonic analog synthesizer with 2 regular and 1 sub-oscillator, and as you'd expect, it delivers quite the punches. This is the first instrument Moog released after InMusic took over, so I guess we can breathe easy now. Check out your favorite YouTube channel for more information on this synthesizer. It will release in June for around $900. One final highlight for me was the Trails by Bila.io. This is an XY controller that lets you record your gestures and layer them. Up to 4 gestures can be layered and then stretched, twisted and reshaped, and the result is mapped to MIDI in real time. Not only looks this instrument stunning, it was super fun to use. It's for CV instruments only at the time, but they're considering MIDI support. It will be out later this year.
Oh, Robbie, how many your systems there? Oh, sorry.
Like that, you should be able to rotate.
Now you can rotate the whole gesture there. And you can also record this transformation. And then from a fairly simple input, you can get like a
resets the phase just now.
Yeah, I mean it's a prototype. You can get really, really complex output.
What do you want us to Bliss do?
This is about applying effects to the transformation and also kind of fine control, but it's not really implemented in this demo because, yeah.
Overall, this was another fun day in Berlin. I hope to talk to my fellow YouTube creators more, but we're all quite busy while on venue. I had some meetings that might be important for the future of this channel. More on that at a given time. I hope you found this overview interesting. Thanks for watching.
And that was SuperBooth 2025. Time to go home.